This week, we've been talking about insulin prices, and we've heard a lot from you, struggling to afford the medicine that you need. Turns out the money struggle is real for some researchers, too, trying to fix this problem. Here's our Anusha Roy.
When you hear the words home brew kits and bread makers in the same conversation about fixing insulin prices, we had to hear these CSU scientists out.
Even though insulin has been used to treat diabetes for almost 100 years, it's still not affordable for a lot of the people that rely on it.
So these guys started to take a look. What would happen if people make their own?
And doesn't necessarily mean that they need to make it at home.
But make it in a community biolab with the goal of making small batches of insulin as simple as using a kitchen gadget.
It could potentially be cheaper, especially for people who don't have insurance.
Right now, one vial can potentially last a week and cost $300.
Am I going to pay for my mortgage and put food on my family's table or pay for my insulin?
Dr. Camila Sasson says the idea is a sign of the desperation.
People are really hurting themselves, so they can end up in a diabetic coma, they can end up dead. You can end up on dialysis because your kidneys stop working.
But she didn't have to point out the potential pitfalls.
And we're really concerned about safety too.
The researchers did that themselves.
Is it going to be, as safe as a drug made by a pharma company? Probably not, but it can be much safer than not having access to insulin when you need it.
But once again, money dictates the conversation because these scientists say they're struggling to find some to figure out if this would be a viable alternative.
The typical sources of funding are government funding, and this project is going to, is going to be perceived as trying to go against the FDA regulations or around the FDA regulations.
So the FDA did just pass some new rules, hoping to drive down insulin prices by increasing competition and getting rid of some of those regulations in 2020. So of course that's going to be well before any DIY insulin is ready to go. And the doctor we were talking to, she said she'd rather wait to see how that one plays out rather than playing around with the idea of making your own medication, since there's already stuff on the market that they know works.
All right, great. Thank you, Anusha.